And on the Zoom call there, it says, it's going to read the trustee of the person, Mohammed Idris. Could you come on the Zoom call?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you activate your camera?
Yes, just give me a second.
Hi there. So are you, is it Mohammed Idris?
The trustee. I'm the trustee. The trustee of the person is here, and all the beneficiaries have been already named.
Okay, so I'm looking for Mohammed Idris. If you're not him, you're free to go. We'll issue a warrant for him.
I am the trustee of the person.
So, okay, I'm not sure what that means. You're going to have to explain that to me. I mean, I know what a trustee is. You know, when they have a trustee over as a person, that's someone who governs their affairs if they're not able to manage their own. Generally, people aren't trustees for themselves, and so that's why, you know. And if you're, I'm not sure exactly what that means, and you're going to have to explain that to me.
What I mean,
like, say, if you're, I mean, I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is the trustee of the person is here, and all the beneficiaries are already been named, and it's on a trust, and that trust is private.
Okay, do you have a name?
Because you are claiming that you are the trustee, or the prosecutor is claiming to be the trustee, and the investors.
No, I'm not.
To be the beneficiaries.
Okay. So, okay, I'm going to stop you there for a second, because I'm not claiming that. No, you can't finish. When you say you are claiming to be something that I'm not doing, no, I'm not going to say that, because that's not true. I'm not claiming to be anything other than the judge in Thurston County District Court who's on this calendar. So I'm not the trustee of anybody.
All right, folks, strap in, because what we have today is a textbook example of courtroom chaos meets sovereign citizen theatrics. Or at least the person claiming to be the trustee of the person is on a Zoom call that immediately confuses the court. We've got a situation where the judge is trying to make sense of what sounds like legal mumbo-jumbo. Trustees, beneficiaries, private trusts. It's almost like a financial thriller mixed with courtroom drama. But here's the kicker. Mohammed Idris refuses to identify himself in any conventional sense and instead insists he's acting as a trustee. We're going to see the judge attempt to cut through this confusion, the state weighing in on potential warrants, and a back and forth that's equal parts tense and absurd. Stay with us, because the twists and contradictions in this case are only going to escalate from here.
Well, you're here to come after my personal trust, correct?
No. Why would you think that?
I object being a trustor.
Okay, well, you're not one. I'm just trying to find out who you are.
I can't get any clearer when I said the trustee of the person is here.
Okay, is the person here? You're not going to answer that.
The trustee of the person is here.
Okay.
And the beneficiaries have already been named. Is on a trust, and it's private, and my trust is private.
Okay. What's the state's position on where this case is headed? And then I can come back and speak with
Your Honor,
who I assume the trustee of the person is the person named as Mohammed Idris. And so, but let me hear from you what the state's position, these cases look like there's a fraction, a failure to control a traffic device. There's a special fuel trip permit. And then there's a failure to comply charge.
Yes.
So what's the state's position on where we're going from here?
If Mohammed Idris is not present, the state would ask for a warrant.
Mohammed Idris I'm going to consider him present based on his verbiage. I know he's operating under a lot of false premises, but that's kind of on him. So,
right.
But I mean, what is the state where we're at here? If the state wants to go to trial on this case, we'll set it for trial, and then
the state would ask the court to set dates.
Okay.
Within speedy trial, the state also would like to clarify whether Mohammed Idris is intending to go pro se or if he will have counsel at trial.
He looks like he was okay. So I'm going to speak here for just a minute, and I'm going to kind of tell you where we are with this, and then we'll go from there. So, you said a lot of things already that just simply are not correct. And here's where you're at right now. All right. And so you've been charged. There's 3 things at issue here. There's 2 statutes that are alleged to have been.
Okay, let's break this down. Mohammed Idris is repeatedly stating he's the trustee of the person and that the beneficiaries have already been named. To a normal observer, this sounds like a legal dodge or a sovereign citizen tactic designed to confuse the court. The judge, trying to stay professional, explains that typically a trustee manages someone else's affairs, not their own, and asks for clarification. Here, we see the first major clash of logic. Idris insists he's acting in a legal capacity, while the court repeatedly pushes back. This moment is key because it sets the stage for the courtroom tug-of-war between procedure and personal interpretation of law. For viewers at home, this is where you start seeing how sovereign citizen rhetoric can slow down legal proceedings and frustrate both judges and prosecutors alike.
Violation of a special fuel trip permit, violation of vehicle operator refusing to comply with an officer. And those are both, I think, simple misdemeanors, which carry with them maximum penalties of 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Pleas of not guilty, albeit have been entered. And then these cases, they're both criminal cases. And what happens is they either resolve through some sort of plea or some sort of agreement, or they proceed to a jury trial. And now, if you go to it, since they are criminal cases, it's headed to a jury trial, you're entitled to be represented by an attorney. Look like a previous judge had already ruled that or found that you were going to. Are you going to represent as the trustee of the person of Mohammed Idris, going to be present to contest the criminal charges against the named Mohammed Idris? Are you going to do that yourself, or do you want to have an attorney appointed to represent? I can screen you for court-appointed counsel, or you can hire an attorney to represent yourself.
Do I have a standing to speak?
Yes.
Okay, I object to what the prosecutor has said.
Okay.
And I'm standing on, I am.
You're standing on what?
The trustee of the person is here, and the beneficiaries have already been named.
Okay.
It's not a trust and it's private.
Okay.
And I object to the prosecutor saying that representing myself, I object to that. I object to being the trustor. And I'm not here to give out gifts, reducing the public law or the public debt. Because I'm brought in as a trustor to give out gifts, and turn around, and what the court is doing is coming after me for the commercial promise. So for that reason, I am the trustee. I'm standing on that position.
All right.
And I'm not here to give out any gifts.
Okay. No one's here for any gifts.
Now, the state jumps in to assert some order. They outline the charges: failure to control a traffic device, a special fuel trip permit violation, and failure to comply. They even request a warrant if Mohammed Idris isn't effectively present. But here's the nuance. The judge decides to consider him present based on his verbiage, even though he's operating under multiple false premises. This is a fascinating procedural moment because it shows the court trying to maintain authority while also recognizing the reality of Idris's unusual claims. Viewers, notice how the judge balances patience with firmness, acknowledging his presence without validating the legal semantics he's proposing. It's a masterclass in courtroom diplomacy under pressure.
So I object to that. The trustee of the person is here, and all the beneficiaries or the beneficiaries have already been named.
All right.
And I'm not talking about the beneficiaries, which is the investors.
I have no idea what you're talking about. When you talk about the beneficiaries, I don't have a clue as to what you're talking about. So I don't even know what that means. I'm trying to figure out, where we're going to go from here. And I have an idea, but in a minute, I'm going to take up some of these. I'm going to take some of these other cases, and then I'll come back to you. But
I'm the only witness on the case, correct?
No, you're not. That's not correct. No. Give me just a second here. Mr. Newcomb, you can mute up there, Mr. Idris, and then I'll come back to you here in just a minute. And you can go off camera, but don't leave the Zoom call just yet, because this is going to take some time. I'm going to take care of some of these other cases first. Mr. Newcomb, is your case ready? I don't hear him. And then Ms. Lazarek.
Your Honor, we'll be doing a change of plea today, but I'm just waiting for my client to log on.
All right. All right. So you can come back on the, you can come off the Zoom call there.
Here's where things get really interesting. Idris objects to the prosecutor suggesting he might need legal representation, claiming that, as a trustee, he cannot be represented. The court patiently explains that criminal cases require proper representation and that naming yourself as a trustee or beneficiaries doesn't override the law. This is a prime example of a sovereign citizen argument clashing with real-world legal procedures. It's both frustrating and fascinating to watch. The judge remains calm while Idris insists on his unique legal interpretation. For the audience, it's a perfect teaching moment, understanding that no matter how creative someone gets with trust, language, it doesn't exempt them from statutory obligations or criminal charges.
Mr. Idris, you can come back off of mute. You can come back onto the Zoom call. So here's where we're at here. And I started talking about, and again, at this time, I don't want to hear anything about the trustee and the named or unnamed beneficiaries. My only question is, do you want to have an attorney appointed to be involved and help you with this case? I mean, that's a yes or no question.
The trustee of the person is here, and the beneficiaries have been already named. And I'm asking for the court to dismiss this case because I put myself in the position of a trustee.
Okay. The request to dismiss the case will be denied. I'm telling you that. And I'm going to ask my question again. Do you want an attorney appointed to represent you, or are you going to go it alone?
How can somebody represent me when I'm the trustee?
Okay.
And the beneficiaries have already been named? You can't even continue.
Why do you think that?
What does it have to do with thinking?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I mean, you're just telling me that, well, I've named the trustee and the beneficiaries are named who haven't been named to me, so I don't know who they are, and they're really not interested. I mean, if life were that easy, anybody could do that in any criminal charge. Anybody get charged with anything? Well, I'll just name myself the trustee of the person and name some beneficiaries, then you're off the hook. Things just don't work that way.
How come they don't
And
do
so
it?
in terms of, you know, at some point, on the, there was a scene where you were contacted by a law enforcement officer.
Now, things escalate when Idris claims he's brought in as a trust to give out gifts, suggesting the court is acting against him for some kind of commercial promise. At this point, viewers will notice the absurdity, but also the method to the madness. Sovereign citizen tactics often involve layering confusing legal and financial terminology to assert immunity from prosecution. The judge, meanwhile, cuts through the smoke, clarifying that no one is there for gifts. This VO highlights the theatrical, almost performative side of courtroom sovereign citizen arguments and also underscores the patience required by judges and prosecutors when facing these claims. You can almost feel the tension in the Zoom call building as the back and forth tests courtroom endurance.
Some charges that, or some statutes you were not complying with, including, you know, the special field trip permit, and you refused to comply with the officers and things of that sort. So they refer that to the prosecutor's office. They're charging a crime. And I've told you what those two crimes are. And now, again, these cases either resolve, and if you've been on the Zoom call, which I think you have for a while, you've seen some of these cases resolve, or they go for a jury trial. And again, you've seen all these other attorneys who represent these folks. I mean, if they could make these cases go away simply by naming someone as a trustee or naming the charged person as a trustee, I mean, shoot, they'd all do it. And then nobody could ever be prosecuted for anything. So that's why I'm wondering why you think that. And now I'm losing my voice, but it'll come back, I promise. So if you're going to keep just
go ahead.
I mean, if you're just going to keep repeating that to me, then I don't have much of a choice other than we'll just set this to a jury trial, and then you can repeat that to the jury and see how that turns out. But I don't really have much of a choice here right now.
I object. Isn't the prosecutor supposed to be speaking and ruling between me and the prosecutor?
Say that again. I didn't understand that. Would you please repeat that?
How come the prosecutor is not saying anything? Why is the prosecutor silent?
Well, because part of my job is trying to identify who's here. And then the prosecutor did say that they want to figure out whether you're either representing yourself or you want an attorney. And so that started the conversation between me and you as to whether or not you want an attorney or not. And I frankly, I still haven't gotten an answer. When I ask you that question, you just go back to restating yourself as the trustee of the person of Mohammed Idris, and then the beneficiaries have been named. So I want to get through that hurdle. And then, I have some responsibility to do some things here before we really hear from the prosecutor. Prosecutor will, I suppose, if this case goes to jury trial, they'll do that. They can negotiate with you some sort of resolution to the problem if you wish to do that. I can set this over for a period of time to give you an opportunity to do that. But and again, you still haven't even admitted that you're the person who was pulled over by the police officers on that day. So, I mean, we kind of have to get through some of these preliminary hurdles before we can get to that.
The trustee of the person is here, and the beneficiaries have already been named.
You have said.
The beneficiaries have already been named.
All right. Do you understand that the prosecutor is an attorney who's passed the bar, practiced law in the state of Washington, appears here fairly regularly, and knows the rules of evidence and criminal procedure, and quite familiar with them, given that that's what their job is?
I object to being the trustor.
Okay. Do you understand what a prosecutor's job is?
I object to being the trustor.
All right. You can go ahead and mute back up. You can stop your camera, and then we'll come back here in a minute. All right, Mr. Idris, you can come back on the Zoom call, please. Activate your camera.